Well, let's jump straight into the Tasmania JackJumpers then in terms of what's going on, because this is the team who won the championship and are quite literally going to do it all again with pretty much the same roster. And that now includes Jordan Crawford, who late last week was signed to come back to the Apple.
Yeah, we knew that as soon as Will McDowell-White was off the table, and now we know he's off to Alba Berlin on a 2-year deal, the Tasmania JackJumpers' focus shifted back to Jordan Crawford. Again, their Game 5 hero, someone who I think is an interesting... I don't think they were completely locked in on him because there were some ups and downs with Jordan Crawford. But again, he was their Game 5 hero. He is, I think, really important to what their team did on the offensive end, was being almost like a spark plug at times. But I think they were okay bringing him back. The improvement of someone like Sean McDonald, I think, helps that as well.
I think that he was in a point of his career, professionalism-wise, where he understood how the landscape works in Australia in such a small amount of time since he was here, that they had the chance to get a local point guard talent like Will McDowell-White. They were putting all eggs in that basket. When that didn't eventuate, he knew that that conversation would start up again and go around. But you're right, the Sean McDonald, the emergence of him, I think, allows Tassie to be a bit more confident. But I'm really confident in what Jordan Crawford can do in year 2. If you look at the last decade as a whole, anytime an import has that second year and they've had success in the first year, it's very rare for an import to come in and just dominate the whole way without a few ups and downs. Granted, he probably had a few more ups and downs, inconsistencies than some others. But now he understands how it works. He understands other teams around the league, other players. I'm expecting him to come in year 2 and really make a difference. And that 1-2 punch with Milton Doyle, that can grow again. And they're going to have to do that if they want to repeat.
The interesting part, and it's kind of in our wheelhouse on this show, is to talk about the business side of it, as you both said, that Jordan Crawford understood the situation and was happy to ride it out and see what happened. I think in other sports and in other situations, the player would be within his rights to say, well, I'm out of here. I'm going to go and look for my next opportunity. But this is the, I guess, behind the curtain sort of stuff of how this all plays out.
I think basketball is particularly unique in that situation because if the JackJumpers didn't bring Jordan Crawford back, there are a ton of opportunities around the world for someone like him. So it wasn't as though he was going to be left high and dry. There'd be opportunities there for him. The thing that I'm looking at now is this JackJumpers depth chart is largely the same as last year. Yeah. So it's very difficult to not pick them as the championship favourites. Obviously, the Sydney Kings have retooled, and Melbourne United has retooled. The Perth Wildcats aren't really going anywhere. But you look at this Tasmania JackJumpers team, it's Marcus Lee out, Jordan Crawford stays, it's Gorjok Gak in, and they'll have an opportunity to get an import wing and add that to the mix, potentially have him come off the bench. But this is looking like almost the exact same team with Jack McVeigh, Will Magnay, and Milton Doyle on the top end. It's very tough to look past them as a championship favourite early on.
I agree, but I still think they need to nail that last piece, right? Because every other team, you mentioned Sydney Kings, every other team now is trying to, okay, they won the championship. If they're going to be the benchmark, how do we go one step better than that? And what does Tassie do to get one step better? Granted, as good as Tassie are with this team and how good Scott Roth coaches, they know that they can't just produce what they did last year. They need to go a step further. The league continues to get better. They've got to make sure they add that. And that's going to come with, offensively, they were great last year compared to their first 2 years. Defensively, where does the consistency come from? A healthy Will Magnay, we know that. But that's where the Jordan Crawford signing comes in, right? How does Scott Roth work that, knowing that his best defensive unit, his best team is probably with Sean McDonald in there, but then you still need to tick the scoreboard over. There's plenty of chess pieces to work, but you're right. If you're a Tasmania JackJumper fan, you're stoked as well because the culture is just going to continue to stay strong.
And I don't think we're going to harp on Sean McDonald now. I don't think he's their best player, but he might be their most important player because when it comes to what you're talking about and shuffling lineups and things like that, he can play at the point if they need him to. He can play on the wing if they need him to, like he did in Game 5. The positional versatility of Sean McDonald is huge for this JackJumpers team.
The other bit of news from a Tasmanian perspective, while we're on the reigning champions, is Will Magnay. He's currently about to head overseas, Olgun, and do some workouts.
Yeah, so he's got a confirmed workout with the Atlanta Hawks that he'll go over to America to do shortly, and there are 4 other teams. His eyes are intent on the Boomers, right? I've been told he's desperate to make it onto that final 12, so he'll be part of that Boomers camp at the end of June. But he's heading over to have a look at those NBA opportunities, and we'll see if one of those maybe comes to fruition.
Should we be a little nervous?
So I tell you what, if you're a JackJumper fan, if you are nervous, you probably should be, right? With how good he's looked since he's been healthy, there's a reason he's getting these opportunities now. We forget how young he is just because we've seen him grow. We've seen him come through the Bullets. We've seen him have the taste of the Pelicans and going to Perth. There's a reason why he'll get these opportunities. And if something eventuates, it wouldn't surprise me to have that kind of big local talent. We're seeing it all around the world coming up. Geordie Hunter Mitch Creek, there's the eyes on from Asia as well, not just America. It's going to come for a player of his caliber. So if it does make you nervous, it's a good reason, but also it's rewarding, and it's what we want to see from our stars is getting those chances.